On the forest, they stand as dead standing snags for a long time. You know, it's not unusual for them to last 80 years or so. But eventually, something rots through substantially, or a strong wind comes up, gets in there, and they come crashing down. Then they start the next stage of their life, which is as a downed log and providing a tremendous amount of habitat. A couple of things. First of all, it creates pockets and tunnels and holes and places for things to hide. But also, as the wood degrades, it becomes full of other forms of life. You can see this one's covered in mosses. Well, there'll be all sorts of fungi that are growing inside in the wood grain, especially in the center. And there'll be fungi, there'll be mosses. The other living organisms like bacteria and even protozoans and things will find their way in their wet spots and begin the process of breaking down all this carbon and reducing it to eventually to soil humus and soil conditions. You know, ultimately, so these logs become full of life. Now, ironically, when the tree was living, you know, the outer sapwood was the living part of the tree, but the big center core was heartwood. If it was intact, it would be full of sap and basically inert. Basically, not much life going on. But if the fungi got in there and the ants got it in there and became heart rot and established it, provided cavity space and things, fair enough. But when those logs, if the whole intact log, say the log is fully intact, there's no heart rot, when it crashes down, in this process of being a log on the ground, more creatures, more cells start occupying the log than were in the original living tree. That was the observation of an ecologist called Chris Mazer out in the West Coast. He realized that once these things get into fully engaged in decomposition, they're providing more life for the forest than that tree ever provided in the several hundred years of life. So this is the early stages. It's been down at least a decade, and it'll be obvious and residual and contributing for another 50 or 60 years.